Hi everyone, and welcome to this virtual World Metrology Day presentation. I'm Lanice Evergreen. I'm a research engineer in the Length team at MSL, and I've also been working on an apprenticeship scheme that many of you will remember we introduced at our World Metrology Day events last year. In the meantime, we've kind of formalised our scheme, we've hired our first apprentice, and now I'm going to give you a rundown on how it's going. I've called it Boosting the Metrology Workforce, one apprentice at a time. Firstly, let's recap the problem. There's too many grey heads. Our experienced metrologists here in New Zealand and around the world are getting older, and there's not enough young talent coming up to succeed them. There's some great education going on in New Zealand, but unfortunately it's not really matched to what is needed in industry. And we were gathering at events back when we were allowed to and seeing more and more grey heads around us. I whipped around the country and consulted with industry to figure out what was really needed. We found that sometimes very skilled metrologists from overseas don't fit well into our industry culture with our number 8 wire mentality. And in some cases, industry was trying to do it themselves, but really needed metrology support for their on-the-job training. In New Zealand, we don't have any formal qualifications available in metrology. So MSL settled on the concept of the grow your own metrologist. We would identify a good candidate, surround them with MSL's great people and culture, teach them a broad base of metrology knowledge, take them out into industry so that they experience the real world, and then support them to find a job out there. We figured we could take on another apprentice after 18 months so that the existing apprentice could help with their training. We had a look around the world. In the UK, the government had made a goal of having apprentices make up 5% of their workforce. As part of this, NPL started an apprenticeship scheme, which is now 5 years old. They've clocked up their 100th apprentice, and it gives the apprentice a formal qualification, and there are lots of resources for guidance and evaluation. In the US, there are quite a few options, and Australia has a few short courses that are now available. But I learned that here in New Zealand, there are only 4 hours of metrology in a 3-year engineering degree. After a bit of searching, we realised that there was a remarkable amount of free or low-cost resources available. MSL and Callaghan Innovation were happy to provide equipment and access to their people. There are heaps of YouTube videos, you can learn anything on YouTube, and lots of online courses. As well as that, quite a few industry partners offered work placements. Then we thought about the personal attributes that the perfect candidate would have, because skills are teachable, provided they have the right underlying attitudes. We had to find someone that we believed could be successful, and we also realised that we didn't have to choose anyone. It was more important to wait for the right person. And then we met Nina. Nina really stood out for us with her enthusiasm, her curiosity, and her ability to pick things up quickly and relate new knowledge to things that she already knew. Nina started with us in June last year. So we designed a program of what we could teach our apprentice, focusing the first 6 months on a broad base of fundamental knowledge, introducing some metrology-specific equipment, how to find and use documentary standards and calibration certificates, and of course soft skills that are important in many workplaces, including time management and professional ethics. After the initial dump of information, we planned a couple of projects for the apprentice to really get their teeth into. Some formal education block courses at a local polytech, and getting them involved in internal audits and health and safety inspections. Near the end of their 2 years, we'll also add in some job seeking skills and hold some mock interviews. And to make sure we know that the apprentice is progressing, MSL has developed a framework that assesses how well the program is working. The apprentice has weekly catch-ups with their supervisor to check how things are going. We require the apprentice to keep track of everything they've done in an evidence portfolio. We get feedback from work placement supervisors, and we conduct project reviews. All of this feeds into formal assessments by other MSL scientists, technicians, and industry representatives. We're hoping that the assessment will add value to the apprentice as well as their potential employer. So far, our program has been really well received. Nina has been interviewed for newspapers and on radio. The Royal Society acknowledged our scheme in their update on vocational training, and I presented our approach at the MSA conference in March earlier this year. We're nearly a year in with our first apprentice, so we are planning a review of the project so far. We've definitely learned a lot. For example, I planned out the first 3 months of Nina's work before she started, but she ripped through that in about 3 weeks. Sometimes we have really awesome learning ideas that end up taking up too many resources and too much time. Sometimes time-sensitive work gets prioritised ahead of Nina's learning. And sometimes a worldwide pandemic arrives and everything stops. Approaching things with kindness and patience seems to get us through. And so to the future. We'll continue to fine-tune the scheme in order to churn out some great metrology technicians. We hope to inspire industry to come on board so we can replicate them faster. And of course, for Nina, the sky is the limit. In Nina's words, I found a niche in the metrology field, and it's something I want to continue doing. I never thought I'd work in metrology because I didn't know it existed, but now I never want to leave. Well, thanks everyone for sticking through this unusual World Metrology Day presentation. I would welcome your comments and questions. You can leave them in YouTube under this video and come along next Wednesday, the 20th of May, World Metrology Day, to our live question and answer session. Thank you.